Fadansi Adenigba Francis. I'm a senator. I'm the senator representing Osun East, popularly called Ife-Ijesa Senatorial District. Well, I was born and bred in Ilashe-Ijesa in Obokun local government area. Just 12/7/1952 to a family of late Chief Adekunbi Fadansi of blessed memory. My mother is still living. That's Emily Fadansi. I schooled in Ilashe. Left primary school in 1964. Stayed briefly in modern school for 2 years. Left for Elisha Grammar School in 1967. I left Elisha Grammar School in 1971. Went for HSC, Ijebu-Ijesa Grammar School, 1973. Who were the June examination experiment. That was 1973 June. Left for University of Lagos, 1974. And I left Lagos, University of Lagos, Akoka, 1977, after finishing the course called Political Science, BSc Political Science. Served in Wenu, that's under Ogeli local government, 1977 to 1978. Took up an appointment as a cultural officer in Lagos under Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Then called under, it was Federal Ministry of Culture. They have not matched them together. Served in the National Theatre, later transferred to Custom and Excise, 1980. But that has been my initial destination. Served in the public service, that is Custom Service, for 33 years. And I rose from that rank to Assistant Controller General, 2008. Then retirement came. I retired in Bauchi as the zonal coordinator. Bauchi, that's Northeast Zone. That was my stay in the public service. Then later, I started farming, serious agric business. Till date, I am still a farmer, but ran into politics 2010. Tried my hand on the primary 2010 and 11, a Senate primary. Failed, and I was defeated by Iyalo Omisore, the Senator Iyalo Omisore, who was an old hand in politics. Then the following election again, that was 2014, defeated another candidate. I defeated. Then I now went in as PDP senatorial candidate for Ife-Ijesa, 2014 and 15. Was defeated by APC candidate then. That was under Jonathan. Then I started over again. I now defeated all of them in 2019. So you will see that everything has been trial and error until God said yes. And here I am today. But I'm still a good farmer. The driving force was purely humanitarian. Because at the time I retired, I'd nearly spent a lot of energy on what they call enforcement and operations in the service. I was the head of operations, federal operations in customs, for about 7 years in the whole country. At the same time, I was the man in charge of enforcement and drug in the same service for at least over 4 years. Chairman disciplinary committee of the whole service of about almost 40,000 people. Then chairman inter, that's on security. I was part of a Senate committee on security under retired DIG Aliu when he was here. So I represented the service. Then when you got ECOWAS too, I was the chairman. As the chairman of an inter-country something. Then after I left, I knew I couldn't do much for them because there was not enough time. Then I said, okay, at a little experience I have an opportunity, I put a lot into the service, to public and private service, because my home was to recruit them. That's to benefit human beings, mankind. Unfortunately, when I got home, I knew that I had done little. So my own was to go back to politics, which was the next industry then, where you can showcase if you win. I didn't have won since 2010. Imagine how many people I would have pushed into the service. Today, to God be the glory, I've pushed as much as almost 1,000 people around that area in Osun, Lagos, into the service. So on the basis of that, I have to go back to politics. I fought elections until it is possible now. So most of what I will do is just to affect humanity until I leave. That's why I come. That's development of human capacity, capability, and projects, rural projects for the rural people. My area, the agrarian people, very poor people. And hardly can you get an industry there apart from this water, bakery, plastic. There's no major source of revenue other than that. But the challenges we have now have been brought in by gold digging by these people from Zamfara, spoiling the farms. Even up to tomorrow, you still have them spoiling the cocoa farm, the cola nut farm. You know, anywhere they dig this gold something, you know, automatically you can't go there. And when there's rainfall, you make a mistake of dipping your leg inside that pit, you are gone. Because you can get up to more than 20 feet, 30 feet, and that's the end. Many people have died through that. That is what we are fighting. And if you want to dig, it has to be commercial. So that my people who have been poor before will not die again. So farming, I don't think we have any other job there other than farming, agric in small, large. People like us are doing large scale, but those are few people. That's what we are doing. We have some artisanal, but they still have some farms. You have mechanic, you have tailors, and so on, but they must have farm. That's what they are doing. My own hope is maybe floating cooperative societies where we normally assist them. on the small scale. Any opportunity I have now, even on a large scale, I will still assist them because I'm going back there. My main aim is this local and illegal mining of mineral resources. That's gold, precious stones, and so on. One, I want it to stop. If you go back to that area, particularly Ijesa area, now where I come from, you will see that if the cadastral people here will tell you the truth, well, the deposit of gold we have there is heavier than that of South Africa. For now. But unfortunately, for the past 50 years, they have been tilling that land, removing gold illegally. And the resultant effect is not, people are not feeling it. It becomes poorer and poorer. But where you have mechanized mining, like that of South Africa, like the way they are doing crude oil in South, and they are giving them 13%. And you know gold is costlier than crude oil. If we can pass a legislation on it and we have a commission, and foreign investors are brought there, and they are really bringing it out, automatically the federal government will have enough money, the state will have enough money, then the communities will be better off. Look at the South. What they are giving, the 30% that they are giving to them is what the governors and the leaders are using to develop the place, to provide enough opportunity. That's job opportunity for them through that. Then those people who are well-read and want other job to do, I will still continue. That was what I was doing differently from those people who were there before. Although everybody has woken up, but you know, I now enjoy it. They will just start. So, if the opportunities I will have here, I will give it to them. Because if few of us are richer, are very rich in a community of poor people, and you don't benefit them, automatically, whether you buy bulletproof aircraft, bulletproof watercraft, bulletproof car park, you must walk on the street. You will come down one day. Who knows? Out of those people you did not develop, will cause the havoc. And that is what we have been seeing. So that is my main aim of coming here. You know, when I benefit human beings, if I develop human beings, I benefit God. If you don't know, He created man in His own image. Well, politics, campaigns, rallies, is a lot. In my own party, the organization, right from day one, many people are discouraged because of financial constraints. Before you could, many people will want to get hold of the structure because of primaries. And after primary, if you win, the remaining is for the whole public. But to get hold of the structure, oh God, you yourself, you will sweat. So most of the energies that a party member will reserve for the general election half of the energy, financial energy, physical energy had been wasted on primaries. Many good candidates die on primaries. Eventually, you see some not too good, but they have the fund coming up. And you can see the type of leadership we are throwing up now. It's because of that particular primary. And when you see the type of leaders we have in all the houses in the country, you will see that those people who have been there have been coming. They have been rotating because they have the means. And there are some powerful boys and girls who have the knowledge and everything, but they don't have the means. So they are bound to support the Lord. If there is a situation, and that's why you see a lot of retired governors coming into Senate today. If there is a situation where we evolve, although it's the same thing in America, but you still have some people like this our Kenyan boy, Obama, who just came from nowhere and became the president. That one can never happen here. The financial constraint is part of our problem. Then ladies, if you look at the Senate today, you may find maybe about the ladies there, they are not up to 10 out of 109. It's because of this financial problem and muscle. If those things can be liberalized, you will see that there will be no problems. Then as regards people like us, you know we have been fighting this election. The more you fight and lose, you train, you learn again, you win, you lose, you win. And as soon as you win finally, you stay there. Because you must be servicing, you must be oiling the political engines you use. If not, see what happened now. Half of those people, the SNS, they have gone. The new ones are many. So which means there will be no enough knowledge, legislative knowledge. People like us now are just learning, although I did political science, but this one is different. Yeah. There are some people there, even in US, that have been there for the past 50 years. But their life, they are sending top for the people. They are very rich, but what they do is for the people. You know, Yibo, they don't accumulate. They don't carry greedy things. They cannot. That is the life I want us. Maybe one day we may get there. But our road is still far. Then the system discourages people. That's opposition here and there within your party before you could emerge. Then when you emerge too, you may not even have the strength, financial strength to face your opponent. Then the ambition dies there. Those are then the only election. Maybe 24 hours before election, you see high-level manipulation, spendings here and there. If you are not very powerful, one may not be able to make it. During election, another ball game. Counting of election results then announcing election results. If you don't stay there and you don't have warlords to assist you, women outside there to tell the whole world your mind, you will lose. Those are the constraints. INEC, the umpire, is one of the constraints. The electorate, consent before election. Those people you think they love you, if you don't do them well, there's no mercy. Then, counting and releasing of election. You must appoint the supervisor that are loyal to you that day. But when you carry the day, election tribunals. That's another one. Many people are seeing tribunal now. You know, I've been in it before. So I don't pray to be there again. After you have lost election or they took it away from you, you went, you want to get justice. Some people will carry their glasses like this. They will be marking, they will be writing. And write your ambition off. It's discouraging. Most of us that you are seeing there, we are very rough in the street too. Just because of this place. If election, all those things are liberalized automatically, many people will be there. They don't make it do or die, then things will come up neatly. In 2019 general election, it was very tough, but because it favored me, it's okay. If they change our star or our this thing, you know it's not good. When you know that you win. But this time around, Mr. INEC should be able to stay by their directive, by their circulars of this their, what is it? No. Electronic card reader. Yes, card reader. You send to us that without card reader we are not going to vote. All of us in the villages did it. But in the other side, you didn't stay by it. That's the problem. In Kano, there was nothing like that. But down here, the umpires, they did not allow us to. So, it has to be uniform. INEC is improving. At least by the time INEC will close eyes and deal with Zamfara's situation, I think we have to give kudos to that structure. In the same manner that dealt with Port Harcourt, the chairman has done well. It remains other lesser umpires under him. We have a lot of commissioners that are really working there. I won't mention them, but I will know them. Under them, unless they are boys or girls perpetrate evil, they don't. But the application of rules must be uniform. We are not going to use card reader. We are not going to use. We are going to transmit manually. Everybody will know. Because the way the INEC is dictating good ways is the way politicians are dictating how to circumvent it. If you have about 10,000 or 15,000 ahead of your opponent and you are happy, you may not be happy because people like us know that it is not enough. They might have posted poisoned carrot on each unit, which is about 3,355 votes over voting. And by the time they calculate it, you see that you have gotten 2,000 ahead of them. By the time you know it, they will say it's over voting. That calls for rerun. And you know when it is a single rerun that is not general, you are bound to lose. What happened in Asunde? If INEC can just do that area, then the electoral materials, they are always there. I think this time around, I will give them 80%. But they should not allow military men to even come out that day. Military boys are meant for war. If they don't have enough soldiers and police, let them go and recruit. And even people like us who are wise and we are enlightened, we tell police to move away. Because voting is a family affair between me and you. And if you come to my village, APC, they are all my sons who are agents. Even if I want to vote, they will leave. And I will vote and leave. They don't fight. It is the presence of security agents that causes a lot of problems. voting is voluntary. It's voluntary and it's statutory. If you lie, you can sleep. If you sleep, you get leaders you don't want. If you come out, you vote. You get your own leader. That's my own idea, but that's some few areas I have. And two, they don't have enough logistics. It is people like us who still provide vehicle for them to transfer their this into the net, something to the world headquarters, from where headquarters to this thing. Then the security agent, particularly police, all other agents, apart from soldiers, they should give them enough incentives to shun politicians so that they can do their work very well. That's all. I still relax. When I get home, we still gist. Then I walk around. Because by 5 a.m. I have to wake up, pray. Then if I have enough time, we still walk around. But in the evenings, we walk late in the night, we walk around. I give them hope, because hope is rising. Sooner or later now we'll get ministers. And my constituency is benefiting again. So there's hope. I have House of Rep. I'm a senator. And we have governor. So there's hope. And if they take it easy and pray for us, things will work out. And generally, you know, we represent, God is there. We represent God. And we are their hope. And God is their last hope. So let them continue to pray. Things will work out. And let them keep faith. But they should give us some time to settle down. They will map out what to do. Goods and services will give them. Then democracy dividends will give them.